Hey everyone, before the podcast starts, I just want to say thanks so much for checking out our pilot episode of our podcast. This is something my wife and I wanted to try out, so we grabbed whatever mics were handy, which is why the audio isn't great, so I do apologize for that. However, I hope you'll stick around, listen in, and let us know if you like this sort of thing or not. Thanks again, and enjoy the episode. Should we probably introduce ourselves or something? I don't really know how this podcast thing works.
Oh, do you want to read our intro?
Yeah. I don't have it up. Hold on a second. Should I do it in a weird voice or just be normal?
Let's try normal.
Let's try normal? Okay. Welcome everyone to Tales Aplenty, our first pilot episode. So come in and listen as a newly married couple explore a variety of stories to entertain and delight. The stories can be fact or fiction, long or short, funny or scary, and any other descriptive word you can imagine. Each week will have a theme, and the stories will relate to that theme. What will they come up with next? Join in weekly to find out. And you did join because you're here. So hi.
Or maybe nobody is here at all.
Or we could just be talking into a void.
We're putting it out.
Two of us.
We're putting it out into the ether, and we'll see what comes back.
It might be nothing, or it might be 1,000 fans. Only 1,000. We're only ever going to hit 1,000 fans screaming.
If we got 10, I'd be impressed with 10. 1,000, boy, oh boy.
10 excluding our parents and family, because we can hit 10 already if your parents, my parents, and my siblings listen to this.
Yeah. If we got 10 strangers, oh man, big time. So, I'm Logan Runquist.
Oh yeah, I guess we should do introductions.
And that's Kendall Runquist.
But yeah, like our little introduction said, this is a podcast where we just want to kind of do something fun and just kind of look at different stories that we find and research and just tell each other things that we learned basically from these stories. We just thought it might be fun to have a different theme. I lost my train of thought.
Solid. No, you're right. Every week's going to have a different theme. So this week we're going to do some urban legends.
Yeah, we thought that'd be kind of an interesting thing to kind of kick things off, is just kind of doing some urban legends. And we tried to pick some that aren't necessarily the big ones like Bigfoot. Although to be fair, I cheated a little bit and I have a story that's kind of Bigfoot adjacent, which we'll get to later.
That's okay. I have some adjacent ones also.
Yeah.
But I think that's just the collective consciousness that is humanity, and that is an urban legend. I mean, they all sort of have a base myth, right?
Right.
So it's not surprising that they're kind of based.
Yeah. So anyway, our theme for this week is urban legends. I forgot.
To be fair, it is really late, and Kendall gets sleepy.
Yeah, so you're dealing with my tired energy right now.
Tired Kendall is really fun, though. Tired Kendall is similar to Drunk Kendall, which I hope all of you can meet someday. Drunk Kendall is very fun. So
we could do a drinking episode if this kicks off.
A drunk cast? Oh, man.
A drunk cast, yep.
It's not going to be an hour long. It's going to be about 20 minutes long because we're going to go to sleep after.
Yeah, we have a weird issue with, I don't know how other people party when they drink, because I have 2 drinks and then I want to go to bed. I get tired. I don't want to do anything.
He's not exaggerating.
I'm not. That's me for real. All right, so why don't you kick it off? What's your first story? What's your first tale? Did we say the name? Tales Aplenty?
We sure did. Yes, sir. So, yeah, as Kendall said, we kind of took our own little spin on urban legends, and we specified more on either a town that we have lived in or a town that we have called home, or state. I did mine a little more generically. So I was born in the great state of Nevada. So originally from Las Vegas. This one is not from Las Vegas, but that's okay. So I'm going to tell you about Tahoe Tessie. The name just
What
cracks
is
me up.
Tahoe Tessie?
Oh, I'm gonna school you. Just hold on, strap in. My sources are Wikipedia, the TahoeJournal.com, and the Tahoe Daily Tribune. I just got snippets from each one. The Wikipedia was about like 2 sentences.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I had a problem with that. I thought Wikipedia was like the source where anybody could write anything about anything, so you know that you're getting the best information. But some of that was not it, and I was confused.
Yeah. I think it depends on the subject and the subject matter.
Yeah, because I've read some long Wikipedia pages about nothing, and then on
Yeah.
mine it was like 2 sentences, like you said.
Yeah. Like, hi, War of 1812. All right. That's like 15 or 20 Wikipedia pages. But anyway, so I'm going to tell you about Tahoe Tessie. So this
I
is
feel like you're
in.
like actually saying something wrong. Is it really a Tahoe Tessie?
I am dead serious. Let me tell you. It's funny. In Lake Tahoe folklore, Tahoe Tessie is a creature which resides in, obviously, Lake Tahoe, which is located in both Nevada and California. So the talk of Tessie is similar to the Loch Ness monster, Nessie. There used to be a local museum and a hotline, but both have closed. So I got this particular story, I think, off of the.
Did they not get enough attraction, so they had to close the hotline? Nobody was
I don't,
calling?
they didn't say why it closed. I don't know.
Nobody
But
wanted to see Tahoe Tessie?
it kind of made me laugh though. But there was a hotline.
Was the hotline to like ask questions about Tahoe Tessie?
I don't know, but it could have been like, "Hi, 1-800-Tessie. I wanted to report a sighting or something." I don't know. So anyway, this was kind of a firsthand account. So I'm just going to kind of read a snippet of it. So the legend of Tessie is so prevalent that Beth of Sacramento thought Tessie sightings happened every day in Tahoe. That's why Beth didn't blink at her friend Ron's reaction when they went one afternoon to a dark shape undulating in the lake's surface about 100 yards off of Tahoe Park Beach. Ron noticed a solid shape, and it seemed to have 3 to 5 humps on its back, and pointed it out to her. He flatly said, "Damn, that's Tessie."
Damn, that's Tessie.
Yes.
Wow.
So
Okay.
what Ron and Beth described was the subject of a talk, USOs, unidentified swimming objects, in January 2004 by Dr. Charles Goldman of the UC Davis Tahoe Research Group. So there was actually a talk about this. This was at the Squaw Valley Research Institute, which is Squaw Valley is a very prevalent area. And Dr. Goldman spoke at a conference that he held 20 years ago at the University of Nevada, Reno, on the subject of USOs. A number of scientists there testified that they had all seen Tahoe Tessie. All of the sightings.
USOs, you said? Unidentified
Yes.
swimming objects?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I just want to make sure I heard that right.
Unidentified swimming objects. So all of the sightings have one thing in common, Goldman said. No one ever sees the head or tail, only dark objects in the water. To illustrate his point, Goldman decided to conduct a number of experiments. He created a photo of Tessie by capturing the splash from rocks thrown in the water. Another photo he uses shows
I'm just going to throw these rocks in and look, it's Tessie.
Another photo he uses shows what looks like a series of humps in the lake, which in reality are only waves.
Of course.
So other theories postulate that Tessie could actually be a large sturgeon, which is a fish.
Mm.
And despite the speculation, Tessie was no less real for Beth and Ron. And this other theory, this one was from the Tahoe Journal. I'm sorry, the first one was from the Tahoe Daily Tribune, just to clarify. So this other theory is that Tessie was created and incubated at the InGen facility on Isla Sorna and brought to Tahoe right before she was hatched in the waters of the Cave Rock facility. Sound like Jurassic Park, anybody?
Yeah, I was just thinking that. This is straight out of Jurassic Park.
Throughout various stages of her growth, Tessie demonstrated signs of having abandonment issues due to the absence of a maternal figure. becoming increasingly more aggressive and demanding over time. Finally, after 18 months after her arrival, the creature broke free of her enclosure and escaped into the depths of the lake. It was not long after that local authorities were inundated with 911 calls regarding sightings and attacks of a Loch Ness type monster. Tahoe Tessie had officially arrived. So, what's real? What's fake? Does Nessie have an American relative named Tessie who resides in Lake Tahoe? The world may never know.
I'm pretty sure you just paraphrased Jurassic Park.
I found that on the Tahoe Daily Tribune, and it made me laugh so hard because you could tell this guy just was trolling the American public for this whole article. And that was just, I'm not even kidding, that was the first couple of sentences. He wrote an entire web page about it. It made me laugh. It was intense. So anyway, that was my story of Tessie.
Damn, that's Tessie.
I knew that you'd like that. Damn, that's
Who reacts
Tessie.
like that? Like something creepy is moving in the water, and they're just like, "Damn, that's Tessie." I'd be, "Oh God, get out of here! What is that?" That's the normal person's reaction. At least that's what I would think a normal person react. Not just, "Damn, that's Tessie."
Damn, that's Tessie. And it didn't say. It said specifically that he said it flatly. It wasn't like,
"Damn, that's Tessie."
Tessie. Damn,
Yeah.
that's Tessie.
No, it's just a student or some guy going over there. You said.
I'd have to pull up the article again. I'm sorry. They gave their last names. I don't remember who they were exactly.
That's all right.
Sorry.
Damn, that's Tessie.
Damn, that's Tessie.
It's like remind me of that part in Hamilton. Like,
Oh,
who helped us out? Friends.
Oh, who provided those guns? Friends. Yes. All right. Tell me a tale, honey. Yes.
I will tell you a tale. So this one comes from our backyard, Austin, Texas. This is St. Edward's University here, not, UT like you would think, but at a different university. So I found this it's called austinghosts.com.
Yes, that's an excellent website.
So it's a very credible source. I mean, it has ghosts in the name, so it has to be credible.
Hey, I was on that website looking for another story for this week, so it's definitely a good website.
So yeah, St. Edward's University, before I get into the story, just a little bit about it. It's a private Christian college. It has pretty interesting architecture and stuff too. I was looking at some pictures. They have these bright red roofs. It looks like on campus. I've never actually been there in person. I've just looked at some pictures.
Ooh, I'm looking at it right now. Wow.
Yeah,
pretty.
It looks like a pretty campus. We should maybe go creep on it sometime.
I told you we should go get firsthand accounts or something.
Yeah, of what we talk about. Yeah. Oh, this is within driving distance. It was founded by a guy named Edward Soren in 1877, which is actually the same guy that founded Notre Dame in, I don't remember, but Notre Dame school in Indiana. Yeah. So yeah, it was founded in 1877, so it's, fairly old school now. And with that history comes many urban legends. And this one, I don't have a bigger story. I kind of found in the article I read, it's kind of there was a few different accounts, but I pulled 3 of the main ones that I thought was interesting. So I'll just kind of talk through those 3. So the first one is actually an account that was from the same year that the school was founded, 1877. There was a popular student there, and he was outside on one of the main roads. And back in the day, they didn't have cars; they had horse-drawn carriages. And one of that popular student actually got trampled by one of the horse-drawn carriages and died on that road.
Oh no!
Yeah,
that's awful.
I don't know if I want to add this in, but he said he got decapitated from the hooves. So it's pretty gruesome, pretty brutal.
Ooh.
Now the road's paved over, there's cars and more streets and stuff. But now whenever students are driving on that road, think that they hit something. So let's be driving along and think they hit something, and they'll pull over and look at their car and look under it and look on the road, and there's nothing there.
Kendall Carl Runquist, we have to go immediately.
So, is it the ghost reliving his death? Is it the ghost, trying to are they actually hitting the ghost? Who knows?
Oh my gosh.
So that was my first story from there.
Oh, good one.
There's another one in the 1920s now, moving forward a little bit. During that time, one of the buildings was renovated. I wasn't sure which building. It didn't really mention it, unless I missed it. And I guess the school is also known for like its arts program, so they have like a lot of artists and stuff there. And there was a student up on the upper floor of the building painting landscapes, as you do on a building that's being renovated.
Sure. You got to paint where you got to paint. You got to
Yeah,
get
I
that
guess the
light.
light was just hitting that spot just right or something. I don't know why, but
When the light hits.
so he was in that room painting his landscape, and I guess the wind caught the canvas and started to blow it out the window. So he tried to reach out and grab it and catch it. But at the same time, he put his hand on the window frame and it gave way. And he actually fell to his death and died.
Poor guy.
And now,
And he never got to finish his
I don't
painting.
think so. I don't know. But now students, whenever they're around that building, they'll report hearing strange lamentations coming from the upper part of the building, as well as seeing a shadowy entity that opens and closes the window shutters, even when there's not any wind. It'll just
No.
creak open and close.
Oh, no.
So basically, the moral of that story is, don't paint in a renovated building, and maybe close the window if you're gonna do it. Also, if your painting happens to fly out of the window, don't try to catch it. Just, maybe walk down the stairs and go pick
Let
it
it
up.
go.
Just let it
Yeah.
happen.
Just paint on ground level.
Yeah,
Let's
just
just
stay safe.
strike a rule that everybody just paints on ground level.
Just stay safe and not paint in dangerous locations. Because, painting is such a dangerous career.
Hey, it can be. Gotta be careful.
All right, and my third one for St. Edward's is a 12-year-old ghost called Danielle. And this one is apparently a little bit more up front with students. She will actually go right up to them and ask to play with them.
Aww.
Yeah, she's just a friendly ghost. She's not like mean or trying to do anything really evil to you or anything. She just wants to play. But you better make sure that you play with her, because if you don't, then she will apparently prank you a lot until she gets bored and then moves on to the next person.
Atta girl.
So I guess she gets mad at you and then, starts doing things like flickering the lights and making things drop in your room that shouldn't have dropped, things like that. Until she gets bored and
How
then moves
funny.
on to somebody else. So she just hangs around for a little bit if you tell her no.
She's just trolling,
Yeah.
man.
So I would recommend playing with her if you don't want to get pranked all the time.
Did it say where she typically goes? Is it normally like a female dorm or?
No, it didn't really say. It was just
anywhere?
like people, I think, just out on campus. She'll just show up and just be
Aww.
like, "Hey, play with me." So that's my three, I guess, like mini ones with St. Edward's.
That was awesome. I was looking at pictures of the school, and it's a
really
beautiful
pretty, actually.
campus.
We should definitely go check that out. Actually, I was thinking about that whenever I was looking at it.
I was looking at some of the students' pictures because it's like the headers of the website are students' little faces. I was like, oh, look how cute they are. They look so young to me now. Is it my turn? All right, I'll hit you. I just want to put a disclaimer at the front of my next one. If you have any little kiddos listening, this might be a little spooky. So little kiddos, perhaps cover their ears or shoo them into the next room or something. So just a quick disclaimer. I'm going to talk about the Headless Horseman of South Texas.
Well, there you go. Wait, South Texas?
South Texas. You heard me correctly. So kind of what we said at the top of the show, there are lore and mysteries, legends that kind of stem from a very similar groupthink. So this is a Headless Horseman story, but it is not from Irving Washington's The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, but this is an obscure South Texas specific legend. So my sources are the lethbridgenewsnow.com website and legendsofamerica.com. Yes, so this entity, the Headless Horseman of South Texas, is called El Muerto, or the Dead Man. So let me set the scene for you. We're in the 1800s. So we're going horse-covered wagons, gunfights, saloons, lots of people that look like Clint Eastwood wearing caps.
I just got a picture of like 20 Clint Eastwoods just all walking around with like a scowl on their mug, drinking.
Yes. Everybody, the syphilis, the drinking.
Just shooting random people.
Let me tell you, Texas was a wild and lawless place back then. You joke about like the gunfights. I'm not kidding. It attracted people like thieves, murderers, and outlaws. Great people, right? So to combat these many evildoers and to fight the local Native Americans who were prone to attacking the white settlers were the Texas Rangers, but not the baseball team, y'all.
Thanks for the clarification.
You know, I'm only here to help. So the Texas Rangers, their goal was to tame the wild Texas frontier. Sidebar, there is a Texas Ranger Museum in good old Waco, Texas.
Oh, yeah.
If you're interested. I haven't been, but I know it exists. Anyway, the Rangers were expert gunmen, and their name was feared throughout the land. A Mexican bandit by the name of Vidal committed a crime in San Antonio, or some reports said San Antonio, or a little bit south of San Antonio, so we're just going to say somewhere south of San Antonio. So this crime would doom him forever. It was horse rustling. It was a deed that he had already had a bounty on his head for. Unfortunately for him, some of the targeted...
Did you say horse wrestling?
Rustling? The stealing and or illegal...
I thought you said horse wrestling. I was like, it's illegal to wrestle a horse? I mean, I don't know about illegal. Like, dangerous. Sure, yeah. All right, come on, horse. Let's do this.
No, like, I'm gonna rustle. I'm gonna steal some stuff. Horse stealing. Okay. Illegal procurement.
We're on the same page now.
All right. Edit all of that out. No, I'm just kidding. So he already had a bounty on his head for doing it. He had done this before. So he was learned in the ways of horse stealing. But unfortunately for him, in this particular raid, some of the targeted horses belonged to Creed Taylor, who was a Texas Ranger. And he was obviously very upset about that. The Rio Grande River to the south had been declared the border between the United States and Mexico. However, the Mexican government refused to recognize the boundary, insisting instead that the Nueces River was the border. This left a giant chunk of land between the Rio Grande and the Nueces that later became known as No Man's Land, which was a prime target for outlaws. But of course, we know that later the dispute between the two countries forced the U.S. to go to war with Mexico in 1846 and made the Rio Grande the official border. Small history lesson for you right there. But that's important to know because this no man's land period, the Rangers were really harsh lawmen, and they were hardened to the burden of their duty of committing despicable deeds in the name of quote unquote justice. Justice was above everything, and whatever it took for them to keep the peace, they would do, like whether illegal or not. So the Rangers had to guard this area specifically and had to be equally as ruthless to stave off any crimes. But what Taylor and his fellow Rangers are said to have done to Vidal for his horse theft, oh my gosh, try saying horse theft. That's really difficult.
Horse theft?
Horse theft.
Horse theft.
Horse theft.
Horsebat.
The stealing of horses. For his horse theft crime goes completely beyond the norm of justice. So Texas Ranger Taylor set to track Vidal and the rest of his henchmen across this very dangerous stretch of land. And joining him for the hunt was another vengeful ranch owner. He was also the victim of a horse theft, and his name was Flores, and there was another ranger, William Alexander Anderson Wallace, better known as Bigfoot.
What?
That is his full name, William Alexander
Did they
Anderson
call him
Wallace with the code
Bigfoot,
name.
or is he actually Bigfoot?
I don't know. See, it says Bigfoot. He could have been called that because of his big feet, or he could have been called that because of his knack for dressing up as a big, hairy creature and roaming around in the woods. I don't know. All of these are really valid. But I knew you would love that his name was Bigfoot. So anyway, back to Vidal. He cunningly had timed the attack of Taylor's ranch using a coinciding Comanche raid as a decoy. So as the local ranch defenders, they went off to fight the Comanche threat. They left the area vulnerable to Vidal and the rest of his crew of bandits. So, but little did he know that Taylor and his band were hunting for him. And the three soon tracked the criminals to their hideouts, waited until night fell, and ambushed the bandits while they slept. The defenseless outlaws were killed, but their deaths were only the beginning. So the Ranger Taylor and Wallace wanted to, or Bigfoot, as I can call him now, wanted to set an example that would deter future bandits. So in those days, the reason why that horse stealing of horses and cattle was such a big crime was because cattle and horses were a big source of transportation, and for cattle, food and money. So stealing either of them could mean dire straits for the victim. So the Rangers had tried all types of brutal justice, included stringing up bodies in trees, leave them hanging, kind of pirate style. I told you this was going to get kind of gruesome. So kind of pirate style, shooting them, chopping them up into pieces, leaving their bodies for animals, blardy-blar, as you do, the huge. But nothing really had seemed to stop people from stealing horses and cattle. So after being killed by Taylor and his crew, Vidal's corpse was said to have been beheaded. The body itself, Sam's head, was tied securely to a horse, like sitting on the saddle, hands tied to the little pommel. His decapitated head was tied to the pommel, and some accounts said he was still wearing a sombrero. That sounds like something that was added later. I don't think that's true. But so anyway, the head was attached to the pommel, just kind of swinging. And the unfortunate horse was then left to roam South Texas free. And it was horrifying to all who encountered it, of course. For years, supposedly.
They strapped his body to the horse, you said?
Correct. His body, Sam's head, was sitting on it like a rider. His hands were tied to the pommel, like where your hands go on the saddle. And then the head was kind of strung up a little bit and also tied onto the
horse's
pommel.
butt, and it ran off?
Exactly. So supposedly for years, the horse and its headless rider roamed South Texas, spotted many times. It was said that bullets had no effect on either, as Native Americans and just people would try to shoot it with arrows, like anything to get it to stop. Neither could be stopped. Like the horse would get shot, the body would get shot, neither would stop. So the legend of El Muerto started to spread. This fearsome sight was said to be an omen of ill fate. If you saw El Muerto, it meant that you were going to be plagued with either an illness, death, or ill will of some kind. So the horse was said to be finally captured at a watering hole in the tiny community of Ben Bolt, just south of Alice, Texas, along with Vidal's horribly mutilated and sun-ravaged corpse. He was unceremoniously buried as he was a criminal, but still the alleged sightings continued after his burial. One notable 1917 encounter, a couple was on their way to San Diego, Texas. Alice, Texas, and San Diego are all in that same South Texas area or below San Antonio. They stated that a headless horseman had passed them on its steed, crying, "It's mine! It's all mine!" And then again, decades later, in 1969, El Muerto was supposedly spotted near Freer, Texas. So Is there any truth to this tale? Well, the major players were all real men, especially the man named Bigfoot. No, I'm just kidding. He was a real guy. There's like pictures of these men. And so maybe later we can, when we have an Instagram set up, we can maybe put some pictures that kind of go along with what we're talking about. But there's legit pictures. And the Rangers did publicly claim responsibility for the killing of Vidal, but there wasn't any mention of any kind of mutilation or anything.
That's all the legend
yes. is. But hey, there was said to have been less cattle rustling in the area after the event. So as to whether Vidal's spirit continues to ride around South Texas as El Muerto, there's really no telling. However, people still report seeing the headless rider galloping through the mesquite on clear and moonlit nights in South Texas. And so the legend lives on.
Wow.
So I apologize that it got a little gruesome there. But yeah.
That's interesting.
I bet you didn't know that we had a headless horseman right down yonder.
I did not. I mean, like, I thought I saw something late at night when I was driving a few nights ago.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I mean, it was a horse and, like, part of a person, I thought.
Oh, yeah. Really? Wow. I think you're a liar.
I'm just kidding. We're not too far that south, right? That was like
not quite, but it was a little south of San Antonio, but honestly, it wasn't as far as like Laredo or Brownsville or anything. We could easily get there in
what are we doing here? Let's go. All right,
Hell
bye, everybody.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Bye.
Not quite yet. Well, I have one last story to tell you. That's
yes,
okay.
Please. What's your last tale?
Mine is, it's kind of funny that the guy's name was Bigfoot because I have a story that's Bigfoot adjacent.
Yes. Is his name Smallfoot? Wasn't that a Disney movie, Smallfoot?
I don't remember.
I don't know. Anyway, I'm sorry. Please continue.
All right. So I found this. I know we kind of mentioned small town or like places that we've lived. I haven't really lived in Arkansas, but I did find this and I kind of want to talk about it because I thought it was interesting. I found this on the encyclopedia of Arkansas.net, and it is the story of the, I'm probably going to butcher the name, so I'm sorry if anybody actually knows this place, Fouke Monster, and that's Fouke. I'm going to just keep saying Fouke. I'm probably saying it wrong, but I'll just go with that.
Fouke? I'd buy that.
Fouke.
Fouke?
It sounds like really close to another word.
Oh no. We're a clean podcast.
So Fouke is actually a small town in southwest Arkansas, and it's still there. Last when I checked Google Maps.
I'm going to check it right now and it'll be gone.
I mean, yesterday when I checked, it might just be off the face of the planet. I don't know. I checked yesterday, it was still there, so I think we're good. So in the 1970s, there was a resident there by the name of Bobby Ford, and he reported being attacked by a very strange creature. Apparently, he ran into the sheriff's office, breathing, panting heavily about the attack. And what he described to the officers, or the sheriffs, was a very large, 7 foot tall, with a 3 foot wide chest, kind of humanoid shape. The creature was really hairy. He breathed heavily, had piercing red eyes, and moved very quickly.
Ugh.
Yeah.
His chest was 3 feet wide?
Yeah, he's a big boy. He works out. He doesn't skip any days.
Don't forget chest day.
I bet he moves fast too. He doesn't forget leg day either. He works out.
Leg day.
Do you even lift, bro?
Do you lift, bro?
So yeah, and the weird thing is he had actually been seeing this creature around his house for several days. And there were other eyewitnesses at his house as well. He had a wife, a hunting partner, I think a brother as well that was living there at the time. Maybe 1 or 2 other people. They didn't really describe everybody, but I'm pretty sure there was several people in the house. But yeah, he saw this creature, I guess, around for several days, and eventually one night they decided enough was enough. So he, his hunting partner, and I'm pretty sure they said his brother, decided to go out and try to get rid of it. So they they went out with their guns and they shot at it, and they thought they felt it because they saw it kind of drop down, and they started going toward it. But that same time, they heard women screaming back in the house. So Bobby Ford runs back to the house, and when he does, he gets attacked and grabbed by the monster.
No, not Bobby.
Yeah. So I guess apparently the monster just kind of like grabs his whole body and just kind of just kind of holds him down, and the other guys come running in and shoot it a bunch of times, and it runs off. And whenever the sheriffs went to go investigate after Bobby came in and reported the attack, they never found any blood, even though the creature, according to them, was shot several times, but they didn't find any blood whatsoever. But
Wow.
what they did find were strange tracks and claw scratches on their porch that they couldn't explain.
Ew.
So it seems like there was something there, even though they never found any blood.
Or something.
So after this happened, there was a reporter for the Texarkana Gazette and the Texarkana Daily News, same guy for both of them, by the name of Jim Powell. He's the one that reported and published the story in those newspapers and coined the name Fouke Monster. The story picked up after that. It was actually picked up by the Associated Press, the United Press International Wire Services. So it hit international and worldwide newspapers all over the world.
Nice.
It was such a crazy story that only a couple years later, in 1973, I think the attack happened in 1971, if I remember correctly. I'm not looking at the source right now. I'm pretty sure it was 1971. But in 1973, so not that long after the attack, it was turned into a low-budget film titled The Legend of Boggy Creek.
I like that you specified it was low budget.
That's what they said in the thing, yeah.
I'm
Apparently
sorry.
it was
It
like
was the high budget. It's low budget. Low budget for your Bigfoot.
I didn't look too much into the film, but it sounded like it was like kind of like a pseudo documentary, like sort of documentary. They had people, they like interviewed people, actual people that encountered the monster, and it kind of sounded like they did like a recreation thing, like in those like I know I didn't watch it or research it that much, but from what I read, it sounded like it was one of those things where like when they're describing in a crime show, like one of those like true crime shows, and they're recreating the crime as like the B-roll.
Oh, I'm very
It kind of
familiar.
seemed like that is from their description.
Oh, I love it. I'm very familiar with what you're talking about.
Yeah. But the crazy thing that I thought that was kind of crazy and interesting about the story was that account in 1971 was not the first account. It was only the one that made it more famous and got the most, press. And apparently, there's been sightings of a very strange, hairy creature with red eyes in Fouke, Arkansas since 1946.
Yo.
Yeah, and it's been in the history ever since then around Fouke, Arkansas. But yeah, that was just the one that kind of made it go outside of just that small town. I looked into this when I was googling Fouke Monster. Like the third search down was Fouke Monster Festival, so I had to click on that.
Oh, of course.
And apparently, I don't know if this is a yearly thing. I saw a Facebook event for the Fouke Monster Festival that happens in Fouke, Arkansas, and there was like 200 people or something like that accepted.
Beautiful.
1.8 thousand that were interested. So who knows how many will show up to that? But I'd be very curious and a little scared to go to it because I don't know what I would expect to see.
You know what that sounds like? Well, what time of year is it? Do you know?
I think it was supposed to happen pretty soon. Here, I'll find it right now.
Gosh, I was gonna say if it's already passed, it could be an early Christmas present for my dad because my dad loves Bigfoot.
August 1st. Happens in 2 weeks.
Oh, we're buying him a ticket and we're gonna take him to Bigfoot Festival. Early Christmas.
Oh, it is an annual event. We have decided to make this an annual event due to overwhelming popularity. Once again.
Yes, you did, Lord. Yay. That's awesome.
Oh, there you go. The proceeds will benefit the Fouke School District, so that's nice. At least they do something good with it.
That is nice. That's very important. Oh, boy, our schools these days.
Yeah. Come celebrate the history of the Fouke Monster, Arkansas's legendary cryptid. Speakers, vendors, tour, and more.
A tour of what?
I guess the house. Well, I guess it should be mentioned. They moved out after that. They didn't stay. They
That's
left.
Good.
They noped out of there.
Just nope out of there. Just
Yep.
leave.
One of the cast members of The Legend of Bobby Creek will be there. The guy that played Bobby Ford. Oh my God. Okay, never mind. I'm going.
Bobby, we're gonna be there.
I'm calling it sick to work. I'm going to this.
Okay,
I
well,
have to meet the guy that played Bobby Ford.
we're taking my dad as an early Christmas present.
Okay, let's do it. Yeah, your dad would probably like that story, actually. He likes that kind of stuff.
He loves Bigfoot. Anything Bigfoot or Yeti, he loves either name because it's a regional and or international thing of in what region do you call it Bigfoot, the hairy man, or the Yeti? As seriously, if we ever do big heavy hitters, the Yeti and Bigfoot is actually really interesting because there's so many accounts worldwide and they're all like a little bit different.
Maybe we could even get your dad on here. He'd probably enjoy talking about that.
I'm sure he would. He watches enough of those Bigfoot hunters, that show.
Yeah, he's done his research already. He could just tell it right now.
Yeah, I know. He could probably be a wealth of knowledge for us.
Well, there you go. Not Bigfoot, but very Bigfoot adjacent.
The Fouke Monster. I'm surprised they didn't call it like the Fouke Footer or something.
Oh, that would be good.
Alliteration. Fouke Monster sounds more scary. They made the right choice.
I mean, yeah, it says monster in it, so.
Yeah. Because footer just kind of sounds like something that plays footsie with you. Unwarranted.
Okay, that's weird now. Never
equally
mind.
Scary, though.
That
monster
is equally scary.
Or unwanted.
Or the creature that plays unwanted footsie with you. Ugh. I got
unwanted
chills just
footsie.
thinking about that.
Gross
Unwanted
band
footsie.
name.
That's not something I ever thought I'd say. There you go, podcast.
That sounds like a gross band name. Some grunge.
Well, anyway, that was my story. Well, we should probably do a little outro.
Cool. We're gonna. All right. So I can close us, but we're gonna assume that we're already like live on the sphere of everywhere.
Okay.
Cool.
I don't know what you mean, but okay, I'm game.
Thanks for listening, everybody. I just wanted to say go to Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Like, rate, subscribe. Hit that little subscribe button so you can get notified whenever we post a new podcast. We are on Instagram. We also have a website. And check back in. And we'll have new coming at you maybe weekly, maybe or bi-weekly. We haven't decided yet, nor day of week that we will be dropping said podcast. We're not really sure. But anyway, rating and subscribing is very important. Just writing a quick little review on Apple Podcasts or wherever else you get your podcasts is very important, just so we know that you like what you're hearing. So, yeah, Tales Aplenty. I'm Logan Runquist. And that's Kendall Runquist.
Guess what?
What?
I love you.
Oh, I love you too.
And that was our podcast.
Oh, can we leave the I love you in? That's really nice.
Yeah.
I want people to know that you love me.
My brother listens to this. He's going to yak at the end of that.
Good. This is for you, Riley.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.